Do I have to file a claim? Never thought I would be doing this, but here I am suing my previous employer, which I was with for 6 months. They let me go cause I made a complaint how a lead is hostile with me and the tasks he assigned is ridiculous. I worked with all men, 4 in the office, 1 in the warehouse, and the rest are out in the field. We all worked in a small building, where we hear everyone's conversations from one end of the building to another, in normal tone too. Even when one's whisper, we cannot make out but can tell someone is whispering. That's how small the office is. From the beginning, it all started off fine and we all get along. But not until they rehired a former female employee, let's call her Snake. I was excited thinking I will have a female to go to lunch with and do girls talk. I was wrong. It all started the day of her interview. Even though we know we gonna hired her, company's policy she still has to go through the interview process. The day of the interview, I greeted Snake happily with a big smile. She given me a weak smile and walked off to the interview. After the interview I said, goodbye, to her and watch her walked out the door. While watching her I can see she mouthed silently, WTH. I shoved it off hoping that's not toward me. By the way, she about 10 years younger than me. Snake's first day on the job, she ignored me when walked in. Later in the day she came out of her office with our division manager, Jay, and yelled at me, in front of the other leads, why her orders came in duplicate when she just ordered a quantity of 1. They all seen and did nothing, just quietly walked back to their office. I was embarrassed and just told her I looked into it. She even reached out to me in Teams group message with other leads too, yelling at me for doing my work incorrectly and she does not understand. I told her to point out what am I doing incorrectly so I can correct it even though this is how I was trained, been doing it for months, and no one ever pointed out anything is incorrect. She just said, never mind, and dropped the topic. Again, none of the leads in the Teams message said anything, all was silence. For the past few months everyone keeps their distance from me. It bothers. Then there was this one day I was on the phone with the vendor, going over pickup schedule and charges. One of my lead, eavesdrop on our conversation, only hear my side of the conversation, and start assuming stuff. He started yelling at me, assuming I am charging the company more. I proved him wrong by calling the vendor back and put him on speaker and have him retell our conversation. After the call hung up and just went back to his office, no apologies, no nothing. Next day during our office weekly meeting, I really thought we would go over what happened the previous day and find a solution. All Jay said is he will take part of my duties away. That is upsetting, but less work for me. Throughout the period of working there, co-workers I used to get along and loved chatting with, seems as though they are avoiding me and very obvious they given me the pity look. That's when I have a good feeling they gonna let me go. Usually assigns me tasks via email and details what he wants. But this time he comes up in person and assign a task and tells me in details what he expect. I went over what he wanted before proceeding. When completed and handed it to him, he yelled at me and bring me to the office with the J, in a low calm voice how I don't listen and do my work incorrectly. I was upset and accepted it. Not long later he requested me to demand an unconditional release from our vendor, even though we have not made a payment. I started asking him does he know what an unconditional release is and when to request for one. He snarked at me he does. My office is next to his, I can hear his conversation clearly. Snake was in there talking to him. I can hear him asked her what is an unconditional release. I noticed how sweet and soft he talked to her and everyone else too, but me. I felt sad and disrespected and being made a fool by the tasks he assigned. My last straw was when I come up to him asking him how he want to proceed with a customer we have issues with. He snarked at me for asking him, even though that is his project. He eavesdrop again listening in my conversation with our accounting department, and come up to me all nice for updates. I used the last hour of my shift to write a complaint letter to my division manager, Jay, pointing out how is hostile with me and the duties he demanded from me with the vendor is out of line and out of my hand. Once I pressed submit, it felt good and I drove home happy feeling I did the right thing. I really thought the next day he will pull us in or him have a conversation with and I will work in peace again. Next day was real nice to me and asked me do I have the key to the office with me. Right away I knew I am gonna be let go. Jay took 2 days to respond to my email and all what was said was to try to ask for an unconditional release. All I felt was anger. Before week shift ended I reached out to Jay for a quick meeting. All what was meant to go over is how am I doing and am I meeting everyone's expectation. Once he said, yes. Right away I asked him does he agreed how Em is treating me and the tasks he given me. I pointed out, thinking it was a good idea, that each times Em assign a task I will confirm it over email so we call can be on the same page. Jay don't look happy and used the excuse he have errands to run and we can talk about this topic tomorrow. Again, I went home feeling good and thinking I did the right thing. Next day I was ready to talk to Jay, coming to the office in a good mood and thinking everything gonna get settled. Once walked in the door, I can't explain it but everyone is being weird with me. I did a soft cry once I realized and accept this is my work environment. Nothing I can do or say will change. They all are friends, even outside of work. I felt real sad and cry and decided to give up and take back my complaint and accept it. This is what it is, nothing I can do, beside looking for a new job. Jay finally pulled me into his office. Once the door shut he said, because of my dispute with Em, paperwork had been gathered and they decided to let me go. My response was not what he expect. I thank him for making the right decision for both sides and I agreed with him. He started going on and on how he cares for me. I rolled my eyes and thanked him again for his decision. That's when he got up and accepted me out. I drove off happy I am no longer at that miserable place, but cried hard when I realized I'm jobless. I went crying to a friend, and suggested to do wrongful termination. Thank goodness I emailed myself a copy of my complaint and his response back. I selected my attorney all happily and later down the road, I feel like she don't want to help me and the demand letter stated settling for really less. I don't know what to do. Do I have the right to file for wrongful termination? Do you think I good case? Or am I wasting my time? Thank you.